Are you tired of getting knocked out in Zenless? Do you hate that you're losing so much DPS because now you have to worry about these enemies hitting you, and now you have to parry, now you have to dodge, a lot of stuff that ends up messing up your buff timing and also the DPS that you're doing? Or are you simply tired of managing the parry gauge, which ends up getting depleted with a bunch of these higher tier enemies in Zenless Zone 0? What if I told you there's a way to stop all of that, increase your DPS, and not have to worry about what the enemies do to you when it comes to abusing a couple of skills and also a couple mechanics in the game that are going to allow you to just overall ignore all types of damage no matter what, and helping you out in the long run when you understand how this works? It sounds a little absurd at the start, but I promise you it's going to be a big help in increasing your DPS and increasing the efficiency that you're going to be using on the teams that you're playing. But before we get into all that, make sure you leave a like, comment, sub, all that different type of stuff, and let me know what is your current favorite team. Right now for me, Soldier 11, Anby, and Lucy is by far one of the most fun teams, with not only the disorder that they proc, but also the damage that you get and the easy days from them as well. Let me know down in the comments below, and also really quickly, thank you guys so much for the support on the channel. It means a lot to me, and it's super cool to see that everyone is excited about Zenless. But going into the video right now, we're going to talk about all the things in regards to ignoring enemies' attacks and also making it so that you never take damage again. Of course, we know the super basics of it, and that is to dodge and parry, something everyone knows in a couple minutes of playing the game. But a lot of things that I'm going to be explaining right now are going to help you a lot in regards to not having to pay attention to the enemies, and also being able to brute force your way into doing damage, which allows you to do way more when it comes to clearing faster, being able to beat stages you never beat it before because you were worrying so much about parrying and dodging. It's going to seem really simple, but it honestly helps out so much. So the first thing I want to talk about before we go into the specific characters that have a specific mechanic tied to them is the EX skill for every single unit. Every single unit in the game right now, when it looks at their EX skill, they have a little description at the bottom of their skill which says this character is vulnerable when they're doing this skill. And what better way to show this is to show an example with Nicole. Now we're going to use Nicole for this test because of how her skill works, which is a very long animation for it to start, and it's going to allow us to be absolutely invulnerable for the whole test when it comes to working with the HP that we have on the character. So with Nicole coming in, I'm going to let the robot do his first attack because he does this really annoying ranged attack for no reason. And then going into the skill, you're going to see that we're going to take no damage this whole time while he did that spin. That is a very big thing to know. And of course, doing this while she's changing into her different skills, you see that we're taking no damage whatsoever. And that is a very big thing to note, because no matter what character you do this on, they take no damage when they're doing their EX skill. Now, it does change depending on which character you're using, because depending on the character you're using is of course changing the timing of the EX skill. Nicole with the very long EX skill gives a lot of leeway in order to make it so that you're invulnerable for the most amount of time. Same thing with Ellen as well, being able to proc not only the first part of her skill, but if you have enough energy, the second part as well. That's also a long animation that you don't have to worry about what the enemy is doing. Once you see the yellow flash or once you see the red flash, you don't have to worry about dodging or parrying. As long as you have your buffs up, go ahead and use your skill, especially if it's on the DPS. You're going to make it so that you never take damage while you're doing damage as well. So it's going to overall help you with your DPS. It's going to allow you to take the most amount of efficiency with your buff timings, and with the right timing, you'll never have to worry about what the attacks are until you end up running out of your skill or run out of the dodges and parries and all that different type of stuff when it comes to your parry gauges. This is something very important to look at and something very important to know, because this can give you so much more when it comes to anomaly buildup, damage, and keeping up your buff timings, which is a really nice thing to see. There's also a couple of things that also follow in this same fashion, which is quick assists, dodge counters, of course, but the quick assist is one of the main things that help out a lot when working with other support units. And also now to talk about one of the mechanics that I desperately want to talk about as well in regards to how they work, and also to not forget the ultimates as well. Before we get into those specific characters, ultimates also follow suit and can be canceled at any single time when you're doing whatever move. It will stop the current move you are doing and put you straight into your ultimate. This will allow you to not only stop it from taking damage, or so that you're able to use your character, do whatever DPS you're doing, maybe do a support ultimate as well, and this will allow you to absolutely cancel any animation you're doing at the current moment, so you can work it as a dodge and you're invulnerable the whole time while this ultimate is up. Depending on the character, of course, as I said, said, you are going to change the distance you are from the enemy, so you do get a little bit of leeway while you come back from your ultimate and you're able to dodge and get out of harm's way. This allows you to not take any damage. This is going to help with a lot of the bosses later on in the game that have a longer animation of their attack, which makes it so that it punishes you for dodging wrong. Well, if you use your ultimate, use your skill, you're given a little bit of leeway to be able to dodge away, which ends up helping you and getting you into safety rather in harm's way and taking a fat ton of damage. Now, one thing I do want to talk about as well is a mechanic that is for a couple of characters in the game right now that some of you may notice and now we're probably going to take advantage of after this video, which is characters with the vital view mechanic. The vital view mechanic is going to be a slow-mo period that you're going to have for only 3 different characters in the game. And the reason why it's only for 3 characters is because these are the characters without a parry. These characters are going to be Grace, Rena, and Billy. 3 of these characters, when you end up switching into them, which can be done in either direction, no matter which character you're on, you could press either the left assist or the right assist, and that's going to allow you to switch into that specific character when you are parrying. You don't always have to pick the switch button to be able to parry an enemy. Going into these characters with vital view, that doesn't allow you to get the days you usually would with other characters, but it will give you a slow-mo period, allowing you to either attack while they're still in slow mode or to walk around behind them and allow the enemy to keep attacking the direction they were already attacking, and allowing you to do a little bit of damage, allowing you to have a better amount of position. That way you're able to do some of your longer animations, or even if you're in vital view, you can actually switch to other characters as well, which allows them to start setting up for their DPS or for the buffs that you're going to want on the team. These are some very important tips that you want to understand and look at when it comes to how these characters work and which things you're going to be looking out for when it comes to which characters have vital view and which characters have the parry, because this vital view mechanic is actually going to be super important later down the line when you start getting towards the end game of Zenless Zone Zero, because multiple of these characters, when it comes to the twins that are later on in the story, when it comes to some of the Hollow Zero missions, when it comes to some of the bosses in the game, this makes it so that one of their attacks usually takes away 2 to even 3 parry gauges and makes it that you're in a rough spot by the time you parry. The one really cool thing about vital view is that no matter how strong that hit is, you will always, and I mean always, do 1 parry gauge, which is a very good resource to have, and especially something really strong to have, because it allows you to use the parry more often if you're in a better situation to use it, or if you see a certain move that's taking away multiple parry gauges. Well, now you know to go into that character that has vital view, which is Grace, Rena, and Billy, and then using them instead, which allows you to only use 1 gauge instead of 3 or even 2. This is going to be a very important mechanic to understand that you're going to end up using for the most part in your game if you have these characters. Of course, everyone has Billy, but I know not a lot of people are using it, but that's a good use for him. And then Grace is a really great character with anomaly buildup, and Rena is by far one of the strongest characters in the game, being one of the most future-proof supports, bar none, for all of these characters in the game. A lot of really cool stuff when it comes to just going ahead and looking at what do you have past a dodge and a parry, because having vital view with these 3 characters, using your EX skill, which is a very important tool to be able to keep up your damage and also keep up your buffs, but also using things like quick assist as well and canceling into your ultimate, is going to help you not only be able to do a lot more damage, but keep up the buffs, keep up the uptime and all that you're doing, proccing the disorders, proccing everything else in regards to the damage that you're going to be doing. Is overall a really nice thing to learn, and it's going to help you non-stop do damage and be able to not worry about what the enemies are doing, because as you get further in the game, this gets a little bit of annoying because these characters do hit a lot more in the end game, and they end up doing way more attacks, take away way more parry gauges, and deal a lot more in health when you get caught in these animations as well. So that's the big thing that you want to understand in regards to just not dodging, just not parrying, but also throwing in these EX skills whenever you have to worry about all the enemies doing their moves. Pop the ones that are longer, possibly use Ellen, possibly use Nicole, whoever you need or whoever's currently on the field. You feel like you want to do more damage, or you feel like you want to use more of your buff, start up your buff, do more DPS, throw in your EX skill. If you don't have your EX skill to use, maybe use your ultimate if you find it appropriate to do. One cool thing that I've seen a lot of the support ultimates actually do, which can be considered as well to help you not take damage, is that a lot of these ultimates that the supports give out actually stagger enemies pretty good. And looking at these clips with Rena, with Sokaku, these enemies end up getting grouped up because of how big these ultimates are, and they also get staggered and are unable to do damage, which allows you to do your ultimate and with the quick assist that is available when you use these ultimates with these supports, you can go into another DPS, start doing damage, and guess what? On top of supports ultimates, you are actually able to get energy as well, which gives a big boost to not only the skills that you're able to proc with, gives more damage, more buffs, but also that the enemies are staggered and they can't do anything about it. That is a very good thing to know as well if you are going to be using a support ultimate, because it does have its benefits and you're able to quick assist and gain some energy whenever you use their ultimates. There's a bunch of different ways to stop damage from coming in, and there's a bunch of different ways to do more damage, and this is just a video to be able to point out one of the ways or multiple different ways that you could end up proccing either a new mechanic, which is Vital View if you haven't used it already, or to be able to use your EX skill depending on what characters you are using, and making sure that you're not taking damage and that you're actually doing something of worth, so you don't have to keep on dodging, keep on parrying, keep wasting time in shield defense, making it so that the battles are way longer in Hollow Zero. This is going to overall help you out with your DPS, overall help you out in every aspect of the game, and hopefully this can help you incorporate some type of, I guess you could say, updated use of what you're going to be doing in combat, because I think this is going to be a really good tip to understand, a really good tip to know. And with other characters coming in the future, when it comes to Jane Doe, Seth, and also Qing Yi, we might see some crazier things with them as well. Quick assist possibly, with depending on their role. Same thing with maybe even the ultimates being a really long one, or EX skills being a very long one, allowing you to be able to abuse these timings that I talked to you about when it comes to being invulnerable for as long as you can be with these longer animations, or even as short as they are, to learn what their animations are going to be. Overall, a very exciting thing when it comes to the launch of Zenless 0 with learning all of this different type of stuff. And let me know down in the comments below if this video helped you out in any way, shape, or form to be able to understand how to stop enemies from hurting you with learning Vital View, if you even knew this was a mechanic, or anything else down below. But let me know what you want to see when it comes to content. Let me know how much fun you're having in Zenless 0 in the comments. I like to read all the comments below, and if I don't get to respond to all of them, it's because I'm working on a lot of stuff where I'm grinding the crap out of Zenless 0. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Always end the video. See y'all guys in the next one, and peace.